Hello chess lovers and players of all level. Today I am going to be trying to get to 2600 lichess puzzles. Currently I am 2582. If I solve this puzzle I think I can get to 2600. So firstly the valuation seems about equal. They have this captured on h3, but I am not going to take gx3. That seems dumb because of the OpenG file. If I do take, so I'll see what I can do in this position. So this took much longer than I expected, but I finally found a solution. In this position, the correct answer was pawn c5, putting pressure on b6. They play rook g8. You have to take, and after you what am I even saying? After you recapture the pawn, the queen has to take. If king takes, then rook c6 check wins the queen. So they play queen takes b6 instead of king takes b6. And if they had taken with the pawn on c7, then rook c7 check, king b8, and then queen b7 mate. So here the best move is rook c6. Rook c6, then rook g2 check will come, and we'll have to play king h1, not king f1. If we play king f1, that allows queen takes b5 with check. So king h1. Now bishop here, trying to play rook h2 check. So now what we do is just simply capture the queen. Why? Because after rook h2 check, king g1, rook g8 check, king f1, we can access the e2 square and we'll be completely fine. Even after rook h1 check, king e2, rook takes e2, king e2. While they can play h2, they have to recapture because otherwise it will be mate. But even then, they are in a lot of trouble, so we can simply capture. The thing is that I only got a 15 elo from that, so my elo now is 2597. But I guess I still have to solve one more puzzle at least. This one. So I can get to 2600. Hopefully this will not take as long as the last one. I'll see you in a bit. After I have found a solution. This position did not take as long as the last one. And apparently it was higher rated than the last one. And I'll say lichess puzzle rating, whichever AI or whatever system decides the puzzle rating, this one is much harder than the sorry this one. This one is higher rated, but it is much easier than the last one. This one, for some reason, is still higher rated. I know I'm repeating that a lot, but I'm kind of pissed about that. So here it took me a while to see king e5. That is the move. h3. I thought of h3 first. h3, h5, or and a4 in the middle sometimes. But eventually, I came upon king e5, and then I calculated king e5. If h5, then king f5, and now if g4, then a4, and if h4, then we take the pawn on g5. King takes g5, king takes e6, h3, h3 cannot be. Sorry, I made my opponent do double moves. But if h3 comes instead of king takes e6, then we can go back with king f5. So I'll show you in analysis. This is the correct move. h5 is played. Now king f5, g4 is played. Now we have to play a waiting move with a. 4, a4, h4 is played. Then we can take on g4, then king takes e6, then king takes h4. This puzzle is rated 2642, while the last one was rated around 2499. So I don't know why it's so sorry. I don't know why it's so much higher rated for some reason, but okay, I guess. At least I got a high rating. Now I'm uh, finally above 2600 on puzzles. Now my raw calculation ability is good enough. Next, I'll be training a general play, and so I can actually use this calculation skill that I have acquired. That is my next goal. So I also said I'll show analysis. Let me just do this again quickly. Then we play the waiting move. I already told you this. So analysis. Now time for some quick analysis. Since I have solved it again. Now King E5 is played. Then instead if they had played G4, then we can just play King F5 anyways. And if they play H5, then the position becomes the same. It transposes into the same position. And if they had moved the king, then obviously here or there, then you can just bring in the king, and yeah, this is obviously winning since you can just capture the G and H pawns and then try to promote. And the key here is the move a4. Actually, a4 is the key move, because since if we did not have a4, let's say for some reason we could not play a4, the other move, king g5, as you can see, the engine itself says king g5 is a draw, and if a4 is the only winning move here. So sometimes you have to play waiting moves to make waiting moves, especially in end games, because your opponent simply does not have anything. They are in Zhuang. And from the last puzzle I did, we can learn that allowing checks is completely fine. Sometimes being checked, like after queen b6, rook c6, rook c2 check. That's completely fine. You can play king h1 and you're completely fine even if there are checks. So the next thing I'm trying to be doing is probably I'll make a video a on analyzing a game from the ground field, so we can do it together. And make sure to subscribe and like the video, especially if you have made it this far. If you want more chess content, this will solely help motivate me to make more videos, since this is quite time consuming. Anyways, make sure to like and subscribe, and bye.